Today on Locked On Rockies, it's over. It's finally over.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 29th day of 2025, the first day of the offseason for the Colorado Rockies as they've wrapped up the season and wrapped it up with an absolute thud. I mean, there's really no way around it. There's no way to sugarcoat it. There's no way to just sit here and wrap up that, because there was no strong finish to the end of the season. There was no solid storyline to end this. The Rockies end the season on a 6-game winning streak after having an abysmal final month of the season after a promising start after the All-Star break. 119 losses. They narrowly miss after just coming close, miss being the worst team in baseball history at 43 wins. But the numbers tell a deeper story, because this team was bad, historically bad. One of the worst baseball teams one of the worst seasons that's ever happened in the history of the modern game. And where they go from here is still up in the air. But I saw some interesting stuff from some commentary from the internet in the wake of the final game. We're going to dive into that, recap the final series of the season, and put a bow on the worst season in Colorado Rockies history. All that and more on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. I am Paul Holden, your Rockies fan extraordinaire, by the way. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. We're free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, and we're on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel where you can let it all out. I want to hear it, folks. What's on your mind? It's over. It's done. The Rockies season has come to a close, and we ain't feeling good about it. At least I'm not feeling good about it. If you got some positive stuff, I would love to hear your positives. And I don't mean that in a way to undermine you. Tell me what you're feeling good about. Tell me what's excited you. Tell me, say, hey, if you looked a little bit deeper, if you look through the weeds here, there's some positive stuff. But I'm really just disappointed to see that the Rockies just ended this season on such a thud. I mean, just not a lot of. I'm certainly not saying they quit, but that's just not inspiring a lot of confidence with the way the season and the final month of the season went for the Rockies. Before we go any further, got to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by 5-Hour Energy. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5-Hour Energy shots. Go to 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. And I guess before we get to the overall horrible numbers, the Rockies are swept by the Giants, a team that just has consistently dominated them, and they handled business throughout the whole time. Rockies hitting some home runs. Hunter Goodman hitting his 31st home run. Bretton Doyle, I believe there were 3 Rockies hitting home runs in 3 solo shots for the Rockies in game 2. But the Rockies in their final, let's see here. Let's just take a look here at the month of September, of just how bad it went. Overall in the month of September, 1, 2, 3, 4 wins. 4 wins in the month of September. In the month of September, you had 1 6-game losing streak, a 5-game losing streak, and you finished the season on a 6-game losing streak. The Rockies will be starting next season without a baseball game since Thursday, September 23rd, 2025. They continue to go into another season in which they have a losing record, a record that continues, a record of losing that continues over into another season because they couldn't get the job done once. It's a brutal road trip. Seattle, you ran into Seattle where they were trying to make history, where they were trying to wrap things up. They were trying to stamp their ticket to the playoffs and win their division and take advantage of the right opportunity, having a weak team like the Rockies come in. But then again, just to add the insult to injury, you went to a notoriously difficult and awful place for the Rockies to play, San Francisco, and they sweep you away as the rest of the NL West the entire month of September, outside of Arizona, just treated you as a punching bag. The Rockies in the month of September, why did it go so poorly? Well, all but 3 series in the month of September were against the National League West. In 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 series in the month of September against the National League West, the Rockies won 2 games, both against the Padres. They were swept by San Francisco at the beginning of the month, and San Francisco swept them out and swept them away to end the season, including a shutout in the final game of the season. That's the recap. The Giants, the worst, the fourth best team in the National League West, continues to kick the crud out of you and dominate you as they have throughout basically your entire franchise's history. It's just another gut punch on the way out of a horrendous season to just be reminded that your division has left you so far behind and that you have so much work to do to just even come close with competing to the 4th place team in your division, that the rest of even the concept of competitive baseball seems even further away. The talent level of the Rockies does not match the talent level of the rest of the division, and that is on the Colorado Rockies GM, front office, and the people that have assembled and developed this talent. And again, they're already talking about, you have Warren. The thing I found that was interesting on the internet, Warren Schaefer kind of already making calls like Antonio Senzatella is for sure going to pitch out of the bullpen, confirming that no changes are going to be there, not moving on, and kind of some other comments and quotes, kind of saying that, oh, he's already the manager. Kind of told you, right? That soon, I'm sure throughout the news, it will be announced that Warren Schaefer is going to be handed the keys to this. When in reality, the managerial search, every single opening, every single thing that should change about the Colorado Rockies should have time and should have a wide open search from outside of the organization. But that is not going to happen with the Colorado Rockies. That's not what Dick Monfort is going to do. It's not what Dick Monfort has ever done. He is going to continue to promote from within and build up just keep building up his core of his guys. This isn't going to lead. We'll get to that, because I don't want to distract away from the actual realities of what Rockies fans just watched and sat throughout this entire season. What the Rockies are facing when it comes to performance from their players and performance from their team. I've said I've run the treadmill of that conversation of getting pissed off about the ownership, and there'll be plenty for that throughout this offseason and probably later on this episode. But the Rockies were dominated in this series. Germán Marquez couldn't get it done again. Another quality start for Kyle Freeland, but the Rockies offense comes up a little short in a close game. The Rockies aren't able to win another close game on the road. And then in the finale, just dominated, just plain and simple. A guy that's always handled the Rockies' business, the Logan Webb, striking out 8 batters there. It's just what he does. The Rockies, the Rockies in the last 3 series gave Mike Trout his 400th home run, had Cal Raleigh get to 60, and now Willy Adames becomes the first Giant with 30 home runs since Barry Bonds in 2004. Breaking the longest standing streak in baseball. So the teams just circle when they need an offensive performance. Like, whoa, here they come. It's the Rockies. It's all going to work out because we can kick the crud out of them, especially if you're the National League West. All right, before I dive into some of the numbers from the good work. By the way, before we go to the break, tip of the cap. A thank you to all the hardworking Rockies media folks and all the people working behind the scenes at the Rockies as well. I mean, again, critical of the org, critical of the higher ups, but that doesn't mean the people running the social medias, the people bringing you the content, the people running, making sure that you're having fun at Coors Field. A lot of people involved with or surround the Rockies that do really cool things, and especially the media folks that follow the team, grind with the team, go throughout the grind of this baseball season, not only, watching as much and going through, but covering it and keeping us informed about the Rockies and telling us what's going on there. So a tip of the cap to all the folks there as another season wraps up. And thank you so much to all the great hardworking folks there that bring us Rockies baseball and bring us Rockies baseball coverage. But that unfortunately means we got to read from some of our friends in the Rockies media about just how tough this season was for the Colorado Rockies. That's coming up next on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes 5 Hour Energy. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5 Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. What you're going to love most is how portable they are. Big taste, tiny shot. You can take it anywhere and get that boost when you need it. You can find your favorite flavor. Like I like the extra berry flavor there that gets you going there, that keeps you going, especially when I'm on the road. Super easy, because I don't want it to, sometimes, as much as I do love me a nice, delicious soda pop, I can't lie. Sometimes I don't need a big old sugary drink to get me through what I need. Just slam on a 5 Hour Energy shot and you're good to go. It's going to kick in fast, and it's sugar-free, so you're not going to have to worry about crashing later. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Get the favorites you love or be bold and try something new in store and online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. We're also brought to you by Zippix. This episode is brought to you by Zippix Toothpicks. Whether you're looking for nicotine satisfaction or an energy boost, Zippix has you covered with their nicotine and caffeine-infused toothpicks. For nicotine users, Zippix provides a discreet way to satisfy cravings and the hand-to-mouth habit without vaping or smoking. Zippix can be a helpful tool as you work to reduce your dependence on vaping. Available in 6 great flavors with 2 milligram and 3 milligram nicotine options. And if you need energy without the crash, their caffeine toothpicks are a game changer. Go to zippixtoothpicks.com. Use the promo code LOCKEDON for 10% off your first order. You must be 21 or older to enter or order. Warning, nicotine is an addictive chemical. That's zippixtoothpicks.com. Promo code LOCKEDON. Zip more. Smoke less with Zippix Toothpicks. Locked On Rockies back with you here for segment number 2 of today's episode of Locked On Rockies, as the season has come to a close for the Colorado Rockies, the worst season in franchise history. And folks, there's no way to sugarcoat this, but and I want to hear your reactions in the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section. We're going to start here before we get to a Denver Post article from Patrick Lyons here on the on Twitter here. The Colorado Rockies finished with 119 losses. They are only the 4th team in 125 big league seasons in the modern era to lose that many games. The Colorado Rockies have lost 323 games over the past 3 seasons, 2023 to 2025. That's the most for any National League franchise in the majors, not in their first 3 years of existence. Only the Chicago White Sox, 324 losses over the same period of time, have lost more as a non-expansion team. They are separated by the White Sox by 1 game. 1 game. Rockies scored 228 runs on the road this season. That's the fewest amount ever scored away from home since 1963. Mets and Houston were in their 2nd season of existence in 1963. Okay. So those are just those numbers. Now we head on over to the Denver Post here from Patrick Saunders and Kyle Newman here. How bad were the 2025 Colorado Rockies? Let us count the ways. 10 of the 25 Rockies' gnarliest numbers. Minus 416, and that's actually now minus 420, what the Rockies finish with on the season. Run differential. The worst in Major League Baseball's modern era, and the worst in Rockies history by a wide margin. The 2024 Rockies were outscored by a mere 247 runs. That means between 2024 and 2025, the Rockies were outscored by another 153 runs in the difference of just 1 season. Completely unacceptable. I mean, that just shows you, when you're talking about development, when you're talking about a team that tells you and sits there and says, we're going to get the most out of our players, we're going to take this, we're a draft and develop team, we believe in our guys. That is a horrendous fall off. And again, it goes on the back of not only the offense underperforming, but yet again, another year where the Rockies pitching staff is the worst pitching staff in baseball, yet the one coach that doesn't get moved on from it is the pitching coach. But no, they can allow another 153 runs when it comes to run differential. Unacceptable, pitiful. 238, lowest team batting average. Last year's club hit 242, which had been the worst. So the offense and a team that says we are a draft and develop team, we're building talent, we're able to grow talent, we're able to use our environment, we're able to help our guys get to the next level, is getting worse over time as an offense. They're declining, not improving, as they continue to lose more games over the course of 3 seasons. Next one here. 681 team OPS, the lowest in franchise history, eclipsing the 24 teams 704 OPS. So a 23-point drop off in OPS for the Rockies between last year and this year. The 6th worst OPS numbers in team history have come in the last 6 seasons. The team that tells you they're drafting and developing, the team that says they can grow their players, the team that says they're going to get more out of their players is declining in OPS for 6 straight seasons. That also goes with the talent evaluation, bringing in those players, saying that these are going to be the guys that are help choosing, drafting, selecting, and picking these players. They've been declining for 6 straight seasons. 1.587. The 2025 pitching staff gave up a lot of hits and walks, but its whip is only the 4th worst in team history. The 1999 staff had the highest at 1.75. Hallelujah. Something that wasn't the worst in franchise history, just the 4th worst in franchise history. 3.72 runs scored per game, the fewest in club history. 4 of the 5 lowest scoring seasons have come since 2022. What did I just talk about and say? What is this team telling us to be? Patient, telling us that they're going to get these guys where they need to be. Get these players to develop and perform the way they need to. Because I've been told, wait and see, patience. These guys are going to come. This guy's going to have an impact. This is going to happen. Wow, another stat that shows that the team has been declining for season after season after season, and no sign of that rebounding or improving from the team that tells us that they're a draft and develop team. That sure seems like when you're declining season after season after season, you're not developing talent. You're not improving the roster. You're not looking at things to make your roster better. You're not being successful at talent evaluation. You're not being successful at roster construction. You're not being successful at development at the minor league levels. But I've been told that that's what we're supposed to be. Patience. Wait and see. It's all going to pan out. Oh, and now we got another Monfort that's going to come in and he's going to fix everything for us. 6.64 starting pitchers ERA, the worst by far in club history. The 1999 rotation posted a 6.19 ERA. Kyle Freeland's quality start is going to makes him just under a 5 ERA on the season. The only Rockies starter that qualifies for that with an ERA under 5. Unacceptable. 17 times the Rockies were shut out this season. Make that 18 because this piece was written before the final game here. The team was shut out 18 times, increasing the record. The old record for being blanked was 16 times, last done in 2021. Man, that's not that long ago. Again, in that trending of the decline of the Colorado Rockies and the decline of the performance of the Colorado Rockies, especially the offense. 246 home runs allowed by Rockies pitchers. And actually, what did that change? I can't remember how the runs were scored here. Let's see. Just make sure we got our numbers right here. Actually 2 more home runs hit. So 248 home runs allowed by Rockies pitchers. The second most behind the 2019 staff that served up a record 270 homers. That's pretty crazy. But again, still in a time frame that show right after. That's actually right after the playoffs. That the canary in the coal mine, maybe a type of stat right there. Let's see. Now 1,011 runs scored against, second only to the 1999 club, which saw opponents score 1,028 runs. And then let's see, this says 1,497 strikeouts for hitters. How many did they add today? 13 more strikeouts, another double-digit strikeout performance from the Rockies, who look completely lost at the dish this entire month and have not been able to get any sort of input from whatever's going on behind the scenes to make them look like they can go up there and have competitive at-bats so they can just keep waving at things and look completely outmatched by fastballs. So they add another 13 strikeouts to that total. That means this goes up to 1,510 strikeouts for hitters this season, fourth most in franchise history. The 2024 club whiffed a team record 1,607 times. So great. They cut their strikeouts down by a little bit less than 100. But that's just, I mean, you can even go deeper on all of these numbers. And shout outs to the Denver Post. Thank you to them for bringing giving us all that data and all those numbers as well. The number, there's no hiding this anymore. There's no spin zone that's going to work for the Rockies fan this offseason until you actually start showing and signifying change, until you start moving on from some players, moving on from some members of the organization, and actually making drastic change and actually saying to yourself, this really needs to change. Our approach needs to change. And it starts with the heavily invested owner of the team that needs to reflect at this season, because at this point, it's going to be not only, we are now over a decade of the Rockies getting worse season after season after season. The response to the most successful mini run in Rockies history, which is back-to-back postseason appearances, has been the worst, followed up with the worst stretch of Rockies baseball in their entire franchise history. They've been setting records after each season for worst performance, and they're going to just keep down that path until they do something drastically different. But is there really anything that's showing you, or is there any sign that you actually believe going into this offseason that it is going to be different? When you hear Warren Schaefer talk the way he's talking about, what's next year looking like and all this stuff, when you hear those things, so be it. I mean, again, I don't, a manager is one of a list of a million things that could or do something differently for the Rockies. But for it to just kind of, for all these things to just seem like a done deal already, for the Rockies to seem like they're just following the usual norm, their usual direction, what they, doing their usual business, doesn't, I have yet to see the reflection or belief that the reflection that this team needs is going to happen. Because again, the one thing as we sit here and we talk about with Schaefer, and again, I understand he's got the long resume and he's had some success, but we can't ignore how bad. I mean, he had just as bad a finish to the season as Bud Black had to the start the season. I just don't know why well, I guess I can guess. It's the fear of being, having someone come into your organization, look you dead in the eyes, come to face and say, you're doing this wrong. You're mishandling this. Your approach is wrong. And that's hard for some people to deal with. It's hard for some people to deal with being told that they're wrong. And again, the Rockies are not, and there's been plenty of negative critique of the Rockies and plenty of criticism about them throughout this season, but it's not like they're in the same type of environments as other sports teams. There's only so much pressure that's going to happen. This has to be a decision consciously made by the ownership and the leadership of the Rockies to start doing things differently. Or else you're just going to keep losing fans. And the attendance numbers are always going to tell something different, but the actual fans, the actual true people that want to care about this team, that want to listen to this podcast, that want to really buy into baseball in Colorado, are going to scoff and laugh and turn away, because it's you went from this great momentum building success, turning the corner, interesting roster, interesting players, interesting moments. And now you've come to this. The Rockies are further behind in their relevancy than they've ever been. And that's something I've talked about time after time on my time on this podcast, because as I've been host of the podcast, the Rockies have just have gotten worse and less relevant. And we've just watched it happen. And again, it's not my job to change that or fix that. I am locked in for a lifetime commitment, unfortunately, because it's just, it's an identity thing for me. But all the other people that like the Rockies or casually or want to do on, but they're like, this sucks. I'm not gonna invest my time in this. I don't blame them. All right, let's take a break, put a bow on this, because we got a lot to unpack this offseason here. It's gonna be a long offseason. It's gonna be a weird offseason. So let's hear what you. I want to know. Do me a favor. Fire off your comments so we can have a conversation throughout this week here as we digest the end of the season and get ready for the postseason here on Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Nutrafol. You've probably seen a million ads for hair growth products and thought, sure, like that actually works. There are so many products out there, and it's hard to know which ones are actually going to do anything. That's why you should give Nutrafol a closer look. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand, trusted by over 1.5 million people, and now Nutrafol is the official hair growth partner of Major League Baseball. You can feel great about what you're putting into your body, since Nutrafol hair growth supplements are backed by peer-reviewed studies and NSF Contents certified, the gold standard in third-party certification for supplements. You can feel good knowing about it because, like I said, it got those that certification backed by peer-reviewed studies. You're going to see thicker, stronger, faster-growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Find out why Nutrafol is the best-selling hair growth supplement brand at Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Locked On Rockies here. The rant went a little long there, so we'll need to put a bow on this one here. And as much as we look to what's next, as a wonderful final week of the season across baseball wraps up, what an absolute blast to be to enjoy baseball. There was just so many great storylines, so many upsets, so many things. The AL Central, how about that shaking out there? The Mets collapsing there, and now the Reds being the team to get into the postseason. I did pick on some of my futures. I did pick Tigers, Guardians, and Reds to make the postseason. So a little, I'd say lucky, honestly, with that when you consider where those teams were. But this time of year is a special time for baseball, and it just reminds, this is why baseball can be so cool, why baseball is such a fun and entertaining and energetic sport, because it all leads to this. I mean, you've been watching since February for these teams, and now you get into these series where every pitch, every moment matters. And God, I wish we were stressing it out and sweating through it with our Rockies, but we will not have to worry about that stress probably for a bit there. One of the things too that as I just really, one of the, as much as the numbers and the overall season was painful, I was really hoping for the team to just kind of, buck at least a little bit of the final trend and show off a little bit, impress a little bit, show a little fight and do a little damage when it comes to this final stretch, this final homestand, the final homestand and the final road series of the season. But for it to peter out like that, for there to only be, 2 wins in the final 4 series, and even less zooming out, for September to be as tough as it has been, just unfortunately, when you don't have the wins, when you end on a thud like that losing streak, it just kind of compounds and makes everything feel like a little the added just kind of just frustration of it. But I'll maybe miss watching the Rockies a little bit, but I think a break is needed for a lot of you Rockies fans, myself included. We're not going anywhere. Still talking Rocks. Still going to be talking on the pod here throughout the offseason and looking ahead. I mean, there should, you would imagine there's going to be news surrounding the Rockies sooner rather than later here when it comes to the offseason. So I'm recording this on before Monday night. So we'll see if anything happens, but we'll be keeping our eyes peeled for any changes or anything new that the Rockies announce going forward. as the worst season in Rockies history comes to a close. That's going to do it for us here today on Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. For your second listen of the day, go check out Locked On MLB and Locked On MLB Game Night. Got you covered for all things Major League Baseball. And, of course, if you need more Colorado sports coverage, Locked On Broncos, Avalanche, Nuggets, and Buffs, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services. Until next time, I'm Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.